Hey, Scooter, talking about staying power, our first guest today he stayed around for a long time, and I'm super excited to have him on the show. He's 25 years in the bigs, and of course, he's a beloved fan favorite of the 2008 World Series champion Philadelphia Phillies. Let's go to the Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room, Jamie Moyer. How you doing, Jamie?
Good morning, guys. How are you guys?
I was going to say, first of all, good morning, because I know you're living out in San Diego, and it's awful early out there. So thanks.
It is. But it's a nice sunny day, which I'm hoping you guys are having in the Northeast.
Well, we just had a touch of some really nice weather. It was in the 70s, and it makes you feel like baseball isn't too far behind. Now, Jamie, I got to tell you, last night I went to dinner with the family, and I was talking to the bartender and about having you on the show. And I guess I don't know if he went to St. Joe's or whatnot, but he said, ask Jamie about the song American Pie by McLean, that he today is his 50-year anniversary. He performed that song at St. Joe's. Is that true?
Or do you not know that? Your anniversary? Nah. Not sure about that one.
Well, I know today's the 50th anniversary of the song American Pie. He said, ask Jamie Moyer that it was performed when you were there at school or something.
I get it. It was a joke. 50 years. I get it.
All right. Hey, Jamie, I talked to you on Thursday and asked you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Basically just being dad. I've got 2 high schoolers, 2 middle schoolers, and I've got 4 out of college, living in the real world. Going to have my second granddaughter next month.
Wow.
And all is good.
And you were telling me that you had some you've had some surgeries that you've had to overcome here.
Yeah, they were actually early in my retirement, and I'm still recovering from them. So yeah, I've had an ankle surgery on each ankle, and like you said, I can't complain. I enjoyed my career, and it was a great way to basically finish my career with the Phillies on the East Coast. I played a year longer. 2 years later, hanging on after a Tommy John surgery. But, I looking back, I don't, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it the same way. And, having the opportunity to play for the Phillies was magical. It was, something that, I never expected. And to be in a World Series, win a World Series in 2008, I think even tops it off. So,
and Jamie, doing it for the Phillies, I mean, you growing up in this area, going to St. Joe's, it had to be extra special for you, and to bring in a World Series home to Philadelphia.
Definitely, and and I don't think I ever understood or respected the importance of that. Again, in high school, being at the World Series parade in '80, and then 28 years later, being on a team. Like I said, I didn't understand what that was about until I lived it, and then going through the parade, after the World Series, didn't understand or probably respect that until I lived it. And what a totally different perspective I had on it. And it was really great to be able to, like I said, win a World Series, but to be able to share it with the fans of the Philadelphia area was even more exciting. And again, as you guys are talking today, and just listening to friends and acquaintances that I've had over the years, but listen to other people enjoy or, share their enjoyment about the World Series and the parade. Again, so we're going on pushing close to, well, not close to 20, but before we know it, it'll be a 20-year anniversary.
Yeah. Jeez.
And,
wow.
I mean, it's we've already had a 10-year anniversary, and just 3 years ago, but or not quite 3 years ago, but before we know it, we'll be saying 20. I'm sure, because that's how time goes.
Jesus. Hey, Jamie, 8 kids. I guess Billy and I aren't going to ask you to go to the movie trivia contest,
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
So you've had numerous baseball accolades over your 25-year career, which is incredible, but you're also known for your philanthropy and community service. You won the Roberto Clemente Award, the Lou Gehrig Award, the Hutch Award, the Branch Rickey Award. I mean, is there an award outside of baseball that you're really most proud of?
I think probably look, they all have a different meaning, but a great meaning, because it was, all about giving back, and it was giving back with not just to me, those awards weren't about me. They were about the people around me and being able to give back through communities, through organizations, through teams and all that. But I would say the Roberto Clemente Award, if you really understand what that award is about, and who that award was named after, and what he meant to the Latin community, most importantly, but to what he meant to the baseball community. It's a huge honor to have my name mentioned with Roberto Clemente.
We're talking with former Phillies pitcher and World Series champion Jamie Moyer is with us. And Jamie, every time I say Jamie Moyer, people always bring up the fact that you didn't have a lot of velocity on your fastball. Your arm strength, I guess, was your pitching style is a lost art. You lived with accuracy and hitting your spots. That's a lost art in today's game, isn't it?
Pretty much so. I mean, it's done. The lost art of that. It's, you're right. My velocity was different, but the pitcher with the Cubs, Hendricks, who's a right-hander, it would be, I guess in today's game deemed my style of pitching, even though his velocity is more in the upper 80s. But the average velocity major league fastball is, I want to say it's 92, 93-ish miles per hour. So that puts Mr. Hendricks, below that average. And look, we all have what we have as athletes. And, we're referring to baseball here. So I'm going to say pitching. We have what we have. And until you can realize what you have and learn how to utilize what you have from a pitcher standpoint towards the hitter, and use it as a tool, and I say this respectfully, as a weapon. A fastball can be a great weapon. A changeup can be a great weapon. A curveball can be, all pitches can be great weapons if you know how to use them. And you have command and repeatable mechanics. And when you can start to do that, you can start to find some consistent success in my book.
That's you couldn't have said it any better. I mean, I think what people understand, there's certain roles that sports players have, and you have to know your role, and you got to know what is your best weapon, and we'll use that respectfully, unrespectfully. But we recently spoke about Tom Brady 3 or 4 months ago having a 20-year career in football, and we had Mark Messier a couple weeks ago. He had 25 years in the NHL, and you had 25 years. I mean, is there a moment that stands out for you in that time? I know there's probably a lot of great moments, but is the Phillies World Series up there in the top 3?
Oh, definitely in the Phillies World Series. I mean, like, as a player, as a professional athlete, that's what I would believe and hope that every athlete wants to be at the pinnacle of their number one, personally, of their craft, but number two, as a team, especially when you're playing a team sport, to be at the pinnacle and winning a championship. To me, that's what it's about. And it's not an individual thing; it's a team thing. It's an organizational thing, and it's a fan base thing. So You look at the Tom Brady's or the Mark Messiers, the guys that you've referred to. Number one, they've been able to maintain their health. And then mentally, they're able to stay there and stay competitive. As you get older, and I will attest to this, you have to be able to stay competitive with the younger generation coming in behind you. And you also have to be able to stay up with the changes in the sport. And as we all know, if we look back 10, 15, 20 years ago, in any professional sport that is being played, they've all changed in their own ways. And as an athlete, you have to be willing and capable of changing with them. Because I'm sure you've all heard, athletes talk about the game passing them by.
Right.
And it does pass you by, and it can pass you by in many different ways. So being able to keep up with that in some fashion allows, lengthy careers.
We're talking with former Phillies pitcher and World Series champion Jamie Moyer. Jamie, as you got to the twilight of your career, did a lot of the younger players harass you and call you elder statesman?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got old man Moyer. I got all kinds, grandpa, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah. And and initially, at first it was like, wait a minute, it's a little disrespectful. But then, I knew it wasn't in a meant in a bad way. And I actually kind of looked at it as kind of fun, and I enjoyed it. Looking back, towards the end of my career, I had boys that were, in college. My own boys were in college, right?
Right.
And I was playing with guys that were, not far out of college. And, that became a challenge for me. And it was actually fun. It really was.
Your sons were older than some of your teammates.
Well,
that's kind of crazy.
Close to it. My kids would come in the clubhouse and they'd go hang out with my teammates because they were more relatable.
That's great. Hey, Jamie, Billy and I have a big difference about this. What do you think about the designated hitter, which they kind of, toyed with last year?
You know what? There've been changes in the game. And again, it's part of what I'm talking about, the game passing you by or changes in the game. But it seems a little more prevalent in today's world that, look, we're trying to put a stamp on the game or change the game. My first question is the game calling for it? This is the sport calling for the change. And if the sport is calling for the change, I guess if you want to try to create some respectful changes, or needed, maybe, if you will, changes, I would consider those things. But, just to make a change, to put your own personal stamp on it, I'm not sure if I'm in agreement with it. So, again, I think you have to be very careful and respectful. And look, I know people are going to say, oh, the game's past that old guy, and he's angry towards it. No, I have no anger towards it.
Right.
But, to me, there is some genuineness of this game. And this game was built around some if you go look through the rule book or you go look at the rules, there's some pretty archaic things that were created a long time ago, and they've withstood, the duration of the game. And, to me, that's part of the history. That's part of the respect of the game that I think we all should have, knowing that the game is going to be here far longer than we are.
Yeah,
I was very, very fortunate as a Major League Baseball player to play and be a tiny, 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 minuscule part of the history of the game. And I'm honored. I'm honored to that.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are honored to have you. Jamie, listen, man, I know my listeners are really looking forward to hearing from you today. I know I was, and you're such a big part of our Phillies history and a World Series championship team that I don't think we'll ever forget. And I want to thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. And it was great to be a part of history with American Pie.
All right, Jamie Moyer, thank you so much. We'll do it again.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
There he is, Jamie Moyer, the Sports Hotline.